Yes, the suffering we see around the world and, the bad things that we see around the world, they have happened for so many ages and so many years. It's not just happening like right now. The only reason as to why it's so rampant right now, the exposure, the media, everything has been brought to the surface. And so we're seeing it. But these things, our parents, our grandmothers, grandfathers, grandparents, they went through these things. And it has always been an uphill task. So you can't say that, oh, back then things were good, but right now things are bad. They are only bad because they have been exposed. But they also had their own suffering, and they had their fair share of problems, and they fought through them, and they actually made it. And right now, you actually have more information on your hands, how to overcome, how to make it, how to have good decisions. That is why we have Hold My Hand. That is why we have Beyond Success. That is why I know of so many coaches around town. So many people help us, not just coaches, but the clergy, so many elders in our families that can actually help in so many ways. But while we're talking about the harsh realities that grow us, or the harsh realities that panel beat us into the people that we so much desire to be, and sometimes I laugh and say, God is so wise. If God made a mistake of showing us the whole spectrum of life and the kind of life that we were going to live, do you know what would have happened? Would have said, you know what, I don't like that. I don't like that. Can you edit that out of my life? I think I want this better than I want this. We would have chosen the softer life and taken out the harder things. But remember, it's the harder things that lead to the soft life, okay? And that's why we have a problem right now, because for some of the parents, my generation, we went through the hard life, we went through the suffering, we made it without food, we made it without shoes, we made it without school fees, knowing where we're going to get it from. And now we are busy nurturing people or a young generation that is used to a soft life because we don't want to give them a hard life. I'm not saying give them a hard life, but expose them to a world where they can live a balanced life. Because if you just give them the soft life, then that soft life is going to create a harder life for them. Just imagine you are 90 years old and your poor child, because you only gave them the softness of life, now they have to be faced with hard decisions and they don't know how to go about them. Now you can't help them because you are 90, you are old, and you need them to help you. But again, they cannot help you because you just gave them the softer side of life. So a soft life creates a hard life. A hard life creates a soft life, because most of the times we are fighting to get out of the hardness of this life of the suffering, so we create a better life for ourselves. So the harsh realities, and one of them that I want us to look at is you will never have the control that you desire to have. You know, some of us want to have so much control. You know, this is where I want to go. I don't want to work with this one. You know, I don't want to deal with this. We feel like we want, do you see a perfectionist? A perfectionist is usually living a life being paralyzed by every choice they have to make, because then they're like, I think it will not come out as I want. So most of the times they berate themselves. I am a recovering perfectionist. But I made a decision and said, being a perfectionist is not going to take me anywhere, because then every time I am going to want to sort out everything to fall in place the way I want it to be in order to make a move. And I said no. So for everyone that knows me right now, I go before the whistle goes. As in, if you're still figuring it out, I tell you, you will find me there. So I do it afraid. I do it without preparation. I do it without being ready. I do it, and I found that I accomplish so many things minus waiting until I am ready, because I will never be ready. I will never feel confident enough. I will never feel like I've exhausted everything or I have all the money in the world. So let me do what I can do right now. I'm not even assured of the life. I have it today. Tomorrow, I don't know what could happen. So I might as well do everything that I am supposed to do. So I know, and this has helped me so much to know that I don't have too much control. I cannot control who comes into, who I bump into. Sometimes I cannot control who I work with. There's someone who looked at me and laughed so hard and told me that there's something that amazes me about you. And I was like, okay, why? They're like, you're living a complex life, because I would have thought you would never work with this person in your life after what they had done to you. But you entrusting them and bringing them closer and working with them and trusting them, as in, how do you do that? And I was like, you know what? When I learned that I don't have full control and then I cannot do everything, I have learned to work with people's strengths, and I have learned to cluster people according to how we can collaborate and how we can take these visions together and how we can grow. I don't have to necessarily like you so much, and you don't have to be my buddy, my friend, my gango, my tight. No, you don't have to do that. But I can help your vision grow while you help my vision grow. We can collaborate. And I found I have grown so much than the time where I used to edit too much, and I'm like, I don't want them in my circle, I don't want them, I can work alone, I can go. At this, there is nowhere you're going to head anywhere alone. Community does so much in your life. So if you don't have so much control about your life, one thing that you have that is totally in your control, the choices that you make. And what I love about choice is God has placed life and death before us. And this is what the Bible that I read, I don't know the Bible that you read, but the Bible that I read, God went ahead. I think he looked at us and he was like, these foolish Galatians, I should stress it to them that choose life, that you will live and your siblings will live. Because he was like, if I tell them that there is life and death and you're supposed to choose, it's very possible that these people will actually choose death, because it's so easy to walk into a path of destruction. It's so easy to walk into a path of negligence. It's so easy to walk into a path of self-sabotage. It's so easy, like you don't have to do anything to kill your life. You don't have to do anything to avoid success. Like you just have to breathe and live, and you will never be successful. But again, if you want the success and the significance, you want to amount to something, have a beautiful home, have the good business that you want, then you have to choose the harder, make the harder decisions. And that is where he says, choose life so that you and your offsprings will live. So you choose life, that you have to be very deliberate. You weigh the options and you're like, I am choosing life. So me and my offsprings, you know, me up to the 4th generation, that they will say one day that we had a grandparent, a grandfather, a grandmother that broke the generational curses, you know, and created wealth and left his children's children with inheritance. How about that? I think that is so sweet, okay? Some of us are creating trouble and we are thinking we're just going to face the trouble alone. You face the trouble and you are actually passing on the trouble to the next generation. How sad is that? Okay, so the quicker, the faster we understand that the harsh realities about life actually help us grow, then we will be able to make better choices in life. Okay, and let's look at it this way. Anything that has progress to it, anything that has growth to it, does not come the quick way. It doesn't. Just like we usually say that growth is not automatic, and it does not come with age, that because he is 50, so he is mature or he's grown up. No, we have 50-year-olds that reason like 50-year-olds that reason like 15-year-olds. And we have 19 or 20-year-olds that reason in a way that is quite mature. They have matured, they've known that, you know what, I have bumped into a few things, I've gone through some of the fires, but now I am a refined person and I can make better choices. So make sure that you make the better choices, the best decisions. I know there are enemies to our decisions, and sometimes we lack the clarity, but again, who gives you clarity? No one. You give it to yourself. You sit down and say, why am I doing this? Why am I getting into this business? Why am I getting into this marriage? Why am I starting this family? Am I doing it because of bandwagon? Am I doing it because other people are doing it? Or I am doing it because that's the right thing to do? Okay, so make better choices, but have the clarity of mind before you even make those choices. Okay, let's go to what's done is done. I used to be that kind of person that used to dwell on the regrets of the past, and I would miss out on the present or miss out on the decisions that take me forward. But the harsh reality is, it's done. And actually, what made me remember that was the times that I used to be in school. I used to be, and I know there are so many people that are watching me, so many of you are watching me, and maybe you used to be like me. After an exam, I would wrap up everything to do with that subject. I would never, even when I just passed by a certain clique that we're discussing, in my heart I was like, but what's wrong with these guys? As in, you're done with the exam. Can you just get on with it? Go on with your life, you know? Instead of just being there and you're like, oh, this number, oh, I did not answer it well, oh, I misfired here. And then someone will be so depressed because they misfired, or someone will be so depressed. In my heart of hearts, I'm like, are they going to give me the paper again to do it? No. So even if I get depressed about something that I didn't do right, I don't think I'm going to save anything. So I might as well wrap up everything and just continue on my merry way, either reading for the next paper or doing something else, and I will give myself the peace of mind. But some people would stay longer, hoover longer on the regrets, and they even fail to read for the next paper. So what have you been able to help in that situation? What have you done different in that situation? Okay, so what's done is done. Life has to move on. That's a harsh reality, but it grows you. Okay, that's where I think that's where this saying that says, do not cry over spilt milk, as in the milk has been, as in it's on the floor. You're not going to gather it again and put it in a can and drink it. You're not going to do that. The best you can do is wipe it away. The best you can do is shove it away. The best you can do is walk away from it.